Welcome to Unwind Stories. If you enjoy cozy mysteries, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow along for more. This is part 1 of the Culinary Capers mystery series, where delicious recipes and small-town secrets go hand in hand. Each story stands on its own, so settle in and enjoy the mystery. The early morning sun cast a warm glow over the cobblestone streets of Seabreeze, the salty breeze drifting inland from the harbor. Lila Thompson stood behind the counter of Lila's table, kneading dough for her famous rosemary focaccia, the rhythmic motion grounding her as the comforting scent of yeast and herbs filled the bistro. She loved this time of day, the quiet hum of the town waking up, the soft clatter of dishes as she prepped for the breakfast rush. Her regulars would start trickling in soon, looking for their usual morning comforts, fresh pastries, hot coffee, and a few minutes of small-town camaraderie. Martha Jenkins, her best friend and owner of Seabreeze Reeds, had already slipped in through the side door as she often did before opening her shop. She was perched on a stool, flipping through a book while nibbling on a warm scone. "You're thinking too much again," Martha teased, eyeing Lila over the rim of her teacup. Lila huffed a small laugh. "You make it sound like a bad thing." "It is when you need that dough like it owes you money." Before Lila could respond, the front door chimed. She looked up to see Detective Mark Reynolds stepping inside, his usual easy-going demeanor replaced by something more serious. He removed his cap, ruffling his salt and pepper hair before sliding onto a stool at the counter. Martha shot Lila a look and quickly took another sip of tea, feigning disinterest, but listening intently. "Morning, Mark," Lila greeted, wiping her hands on a towel. "The usual?" Mark hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, but also I need to talk to you about something." Something about his tone sent a chill up Lila's spine. She poured him a steaming mug of coffee and placed it in front of him. "Go on." Mark took a slow sip before meeting her gaze. "There was an incident this morning. Anton Delgado was found unconscious at the festival grounds." Martha gasped. "Unconscious? What happened?" "We're still figuring that out," Mark said, rubbing his temple. "Preliminary reports suggest he ingested something that made him sick." Lila's brow furrowed. "Anton's meticulous about what he eats, what he cooks. That doesn't sound like an accident." "That's why I'm here." Mark set down his mug. "I need to ask you a few questions about yesterday's pre-festival event." Lila frowned, mentally retracing her steps. The town had hosted a small pre-festival tasting where local chefs showcased dishes before the main event. Anton had been there, larger than life as always, sampling everything and making a show of his critiques. Had he seemed off? Had anything unusual happened? "I remember he was in a great mood yesterday," Lila said slowly. "His usual self, boisterous, competitive. He had his eyes on winning again this year." "Did you notice him eat or drink anything specific?" Mark asked. Martha, who had been unusually quiet, finally spoke up. "I saw him with a plate of seafood risotto from that new vendor. What was her name? Celia something." Mark jotted something down in his notepad. "Good to know. We'll check with her." Before the conversation could go any further, the bistro's door swung open and Mayor Evelyn Harper strode in, her sharp heels clicking against the floor. "Lila, I need a word." Lila and Martha exchanged a glance before Lila wiped her hands and stepped forward. "Good morning, Mayor. What can I do for you?" The mayor's expression was tight. "I just spoke with Detective Reynolds. This incident with Anton couldn't have come at a worse time." Lila crossed her arms, keeping her tone calm. "I agree. But right now, the priority should be Anton's health." "Of course," the mayor said briskly. "But we also have to consider the festival's reputation. I need assurance that your establishment is following all regulations. If anything is out of line—" "That won't be an issue," Lila interjected. "Lila's table has always upheld the highest standards. You're welcome to inspect my kitchen if you'd like." Mayor Harper pursed her lips before giving a curt nod. I'll be in touch." As she exited, the tension in the room settled but didn't dissipate entirely. Lila let out a slow breath, turning back to Mark and Martha. Martha scoffed. "She's acting like you personally poisoned Anton." Mark sighed. "It's just politics. She's worried about the town's image." Lila folded her arms. "Well, I'm worried about Anton." Mark gave her a measured look. "So am I." There was a pause before he stood. "If you think of anything out of the ordinary, let me know." Lila nodded, but a sense of unease had settled in her chest. As Mark left, she turned to Martha. "Something isn't right." Martha tilted her head. "You thinking what I'm thinking?" "If Anton was targeted, then we need to figure out why." A slow smile crept onto Martha's face. "Guess we've got a mystery on our hands." Lila exhaled, feeling the weight of responsibility settle onto her shoulders. She wasn't a detective, but she knew food, she knew people, and she knew her town. And if something or someone was threatening the heart of Seabreeze, she wouldn't stand idly by. Thanks for listening to Unwind Stories. If you enjoyed this cozy mystery, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned for the next installment of Culinary Capers.